Good morning and welcome again to this. This is our second webinar in our series as we try to take a little deeper dive into the National Workplace Wellness Policy. So for those of you who are joining us today for the second or maybe third time, well, I say second because we had last month we did that session on occupational wellness. And then in March, we had a session on the National Workplace Wellness Policy. So that's why I'm saying third. So those of you who would have joined us for the previous two, welcome back. And if we have new persons this morning, welcome. We aim to continue this series throughout the year so we can build the awareness on the policy. So you will hear from us sometime during next month again. Inviting you to join us again for the next policy. So just a little background for those who don't know, the National Workplace Wellness Policy was basically the brainchild of Mr. Orlando Gabby Scott at that time he was in the Barbados Workers Union. He's now retired. He was their safety and health officer for a number of years, and that was his focus. So it was his brainchild, and then it was actually drafted by Professor Devonish. And the Ministry of Labor then took it to the cabinet, and it was approved in 2019. So we're working now through our national committee and trying to look at the implementation of the policy. So you will be hearing more, well, from last year and this year, we'll continue to hear from more from the ministry and our partners as well about the policy. So our speaker today, I would not be too long in my remarks. Our speaker today is Ms. Renee Critchlow. And Renee, she is a public health consultant. She specializes in corporate wellness. She has over 12 years experience in fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle coaching. She's the founder of React Fitness, and she's helped women in Barbados, the US, and the UK to improve their health through evidence-based strategies. She's a Chevening Scholar with a Master of Public Health, and Renee supports women's health at all life stages and serves on the Planning and Promotion Subcommittee of the National Workplace, for the National Committee on Wellness in the Workplace. And as that committee really is there to implement the rollout of the policy. She has led programs benefiting over 400 women, and whilst women are benefiting, men will benefit also by extension, and collaborated with organizations like the Ministry of Health and Wellness. She's also an advocate for maternal and reproductive health. So with those very brief remarks, I'm going to hand over to Ms. Renee Critchlow. And our topic today, we're looking at physical wellness, based on Fuel, Move, Thrive, supporting physical wellness at work and home. And I think I forgot, I was speaking and welcoming you back. For those who don't know, my name is Rhonda Farley, and I am the officer responsible for workplace wellness within the Ministry of Labor, Social Security, and Third Sector. Okay, so thank you once again, and I'm going to hand over to Renee at this point.
Okay, thank you very much, Rhonda. Good morning, everyone. I will be sharing my screen with the PowerPoint slide, and just will make sure that everyone can hear and see me well before I start anything. So I'm going to share that. Share. Then I am going to go into presentation mode. All right, let me get this back again. Sometimes. So, All right, so just you can unmute your mic, so let me know if you can hear me and if you can see the PowerPoint slide, because I will not be able to get access to the chat right now. So just unmute and let me know if you can see. And then if you can, we will. Okay, good. Thank
I
you.
can see and hear.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Once again, welcome to this webinar. My name is Renee Critchlow, and today's topic is about Fuel, Move, Thrive, supporting physical wellness at work and at home. And Rhonda pretty much gave some information about me, but I will just reiterate again. I am Renee Critchlow, a women's wellness coach and a public health consultant. I am also a planning and promotion subcommittee member of the National Workplace Wellness Policy. And my mission is to help normalize all conversations around physical wellness inside and outside of the workplace, and also to support employers to see the need and value in supporting their staff in their physical wellness journey. So just an overview of some of the organizations that I have worked with so far. Both of them are public and private sector. So I have ANSA McKell, Ministry of International Transport and Tourism, Barbados Revenue Authority, Ministry of Health and Wellness, HERMAB, Fund Access, BIDC, Caribbean Craft Labels, Popular Discount, Ministry of Housing and Lands, and the Ministry of Labor, Social Services, and Third Sector. So before we go into this presentation, if you have any questions, you can jot down the questions or you can put them in the chat, and we will have a Q&A at the end of the session. And parts of this session is going to be a bit interactive, so I will just ask you to unmute your mic if you want to participate. If you don't want to participate, that is not a problem either. But as I said, most of the questions, if you can, leave them to the end, unless it is a pressing question, then I will answer the question. So that is how this presentation is going to go. It's going to be about 30 to 45 minutes and then additional time for Q&A. So health versus wellness, what is the difference? Health really is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or injury. It is also the overall condition of one's body and mind. And wellness, which is a subset of health, which is an active process of becoming aware of making choices towards a healthy and fulfilling life, a positive component of health, and a sense of well-being. And it is a product, it is multidimensional. So wellness is part of health. So just a bit about the National Workplace Wellness Policy that has a mandate and implemented in 2019 and runs to 2029. And just a general overview, this policy was drafted and approved by the Cabinet of Barbados in 2019. It seeks to inspire positive wellness behaviors among employers and workers across Barbados, young and old. It addresses wellness in the workplace and covers 9 dimensions of workplace wellness. And if you do want to find out more about this policy, you can always visit www.workplacewellness.bb, and there you would find all the information that you need to find, or you can reach out to Rhonda, you can reach out to myself or any other committee member. So 9 dimensions of wellness. Based on current research, there are 9 dimensions of wellness. We have physical wellness, which I will be speaking about today. We have psychological wellness / mental wellness, have environmental wellness, social wellness, intellectual wellness, occupational wellness, spiritual wellness, cultural wellness, and financial wellness. So those are the 9 dimensions, and for the purposes of this presentation, I will be focusing on the first one, physical wellness. So I know that some of you might be aware of this or some might not be. currently the retirement age in Barbados is 67 years old, and in a couple of years it will move to 68. So because we have an aging population, and most of our population by the year 2035 will be in the retirement age, we have to make sure that everything that we do leading up to retirement will make sure that persons are going to be productive in the workplace and they're going to be comfortable. Because the reality is we spend most of our lives in a working environment, at least 30 years plus. So whatever we are doing in that environment, we have to make sure that we are comfortable, and employers, you have to make sure that it is going to be an environment that will facilitate productivity, general employee happiness, and wellness. So just want you to really sink in that, yeah, we're going to be in the working environment for a long time. So it's important for us to do everything we can to make sure that that time is pleasurable. So as I said, I'm going to be talking about physical wellness, and the definition: physical wellness refers to the ability to maintain a healthy physical state and to have vitality, energy, and the ability to manage daily tasks, whether at work or at home. So repeating that again, physical wellness refers to the ability to maintain a healthy physical state, have vitality, energy, and ability to manage daily tasks, whether at work or at home. So you can imagine how important this dimension of the employee wellness policy is going to be. And also, it is about recognizing that our behaviors and actions have a significant impact on our health and well-being. So it's not only the responsibility of our employers to provide environments that are going to be conducive to physical wellness, we as individuals have to be responsible for the things that we are doing to ensure that our well-being is the best that it can be. So there are some key priority areas of physical wellness. So each of these dimensions that I would have spoken about before, they then have priority areas. So the priority areas for physical wellness are diet and nutrition, obesity and weight management, physical exercise and activity, harmful substance use, prevention and management of physical disease or illness, and also physical screening and health examinations. So all of these are key priority areas. Sometimes you might not be able to do all of them. There's some that you can manage, some that you would also need external help, or even if your employer has different programs in place, those are ways that you can be helped. But for the purposes of this presentation, I will just be focusing on 3 of those priority areas, which is diet and nutrition, obesity and weight management, and physical activity. And all of them are interconnected, because if your diet and nutrition is not at a good level, it is going to negatively impact your ability to manage obesity and weight management. Likewise, if your physical activity is not on a particular level, or you're sedentary most of the time, then that is going to have an impact on obesity and weight management. And also, some of you might notice saying that you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. So all of them are intertwined. So we're going to look at diet and nutrition first. So what is diet? It is pretty much what you eat on a daily basis. So you might have one person, and I'm going to use the example of breakfast. You might have one person that eats eggs and has fruit on the morning and has oat flakes as their breakfast. And then you might have somebody that is just going to get biscuits and jam, and that is what they call their breakfast. So it's really what you eat on a daily basis is what your diet is. So then I know the question will be, so what is nutrition then? So nutrition is eating nutritionally dense foods That really means that you're going to be eating foods that are high in vitamins and minerals, and eating foods from the different macronutrients, which will be protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and which we will go into a bit after this information here. It must also achieve body composition and performance goals. And in the terms of work and home, your performance goals can look like being able to do your daily tasks, being able to function in meetings. At home, it could look like being able to clean your house, being able to cook, being able to do different things. And in terms of your body composition, whether it is that you want to lose weight, if you want to put on muscle mass, it must be something that is going to help that. And it must also control energy balance. And that is the thing about calories in, calories out. That's just high level, but there's more to that. So it must be able to do that for you, and it must make you feel good. And I'm not talking about if you eat a piece of chocolate and then you feel good in that moment. It must make you feel good beyond that. So internally, your nutrition should make you feel good. It's going to be able to prevent illnesses. It is going to be able to help you to manage your weight, prevent obesity, and things like that. And it's going to be just able to make you feel energized. Because I said there's some foods that when you eat it, initially it is going to make you feel good. And then a couple of minutes or a few hours, you might realize that your energy has crashed. And this usually happens when you eat a lot of sugary foods. So it must be something that is going to of you learn from reception age that you must, number one, drink water, and as Patrice was saying, mind your business. Number two, eat your vegetables and fruits. Number three, eat your protein, whether animal or plant-based. Number four, eat your good carbohydrates. 5, consume good fats. So you can now unmute your mic and let me know yes or no if you would have learned all of these things from reception age, even into secondary school. If you did home ec, which is now called food and nutrition, let me know. I might not be able to see the chat well, so you can just unmute and say yes, no, maybe so.
No,
Most definitely.
Yes, I know, yes, most definitely. Anybody else? All right, so I am assuming that every single person on this call would have learned something. Even if you not learned all of them, you would have learned something. And then with the Ministry of Wellness and other agencies putting out a lot of information, reminding you that these are the things that you should be doing. But in reality, a lot of us do not do them. And it is these principles that will definitely help you with other areas. All right, so the basics never ever fail. So what I spoke about before, what you should have learned about in reception, those are the basics. They never ever fail. And if you realize it did not have anything like cookies, soft drinks, anything like that, and eating this is basically how your plate can look. So eating like this will help you to feel and look good. And if you're somebody that is concerned about serving sizes and things like that, you have a tool that you carry with you every single day. It is not electronic, it is not your cell phone, it is your palm. You can use your palm as a general guide. So what does it look like to eat healthy? The things that we already know. And it is more so about implementing these things. So at a minimum, all of your major meals, you should be eating protein, lean sources of protein. You should also be eating your vegetables. So as they would say, eat the rainbow. You can have some carbohydrates, but not like the 2 or 3 pot spoonfuls that you might get on your plate. And please note that some fruits do count as carbohydrates. Like mangoes are in season right now, but you can still eat those. Good fats also count. And if some of you are like me that would have grown up in the era of low fat this, low fat that, and demonizing fats, just note that you do need fats in your diet to produce some of the hormones, especially your sex hormones, and especially for women. If you do not have enough fats, that is going to offset your whole menstrual cycle, reproductive system. So you need good fats, and these good fats will look like things like coconut oil, olive oil. I know avocado / pears. Pears are going to be in season soon, so you should be consuming those things. Certain nuts and seeds will also have in good fats. So this is what your plate should typically look like. So how exactly would you do this at work or at home? So at home, at work, you can have things like Fruit Fridays, Water First meetings. So when you have your Zoom meetings or anything like that, you can decide, okay, everybody make sure that you have your water. We can drink water, toast, or do something. And also healthy lunch challenges. And the photo that you're seeing here on the right, that is from when I used to work in corporate, and we were also entitled a 15-minute break. So it was myself and 2 others that would take a break just to have a cup of tea or have anything else. So on this particular occasion, I brought to work all of these ingredients and we made our parfaits. As you can see, there are 3 cups. So these are easy things that you can do. If you have coworkers that you are close with, this is something that you can do to actually start to improve your nutrition. And at home, as a family, you can actually cook together instead of leaving all of the cooking to one person. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be physically cooking stuff. You can actually help in the prep. You can also keep healthy snacks visible, so like fruits and nuts instead of corn curls. And whoever is doing the supermarket shopping, you have the most power, so you can limit ultra processed foods. So that's a lot of foods that will have more than 1 ingredient on the label. So next up, we are going on to physical activity. So what is physical activity? So according to the World Health Organization, physical activity is any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscles that requires energy expenditure. Just basically meaning that anything that you're doing to move your body for a period of time. So physical activity refers to all types of movement. So whether it is you walking to get into the office, going for a walk on the beach, going in the gym, cleaning your house, dancing, anything like that counts as physical activity. So if you're going in the gym, that would be a subset of physical activity. So forms of physical activity include walking, running, swimming, dancing. And for those of you who like the crop over season, I know you're going to be doing a lot of dancing coming up shortly. So you will get a lot of physical activity, resistance training. And I will just say here that this one is very important. It does not mean, again, that you have to go into the gym, but you can do body weight exercises and things like that, especially for women that are going to be in the 40+ age range. You have to do resistance training. And if you're going to lift weights, it does not mean that you are going to look like a man, but you have to do resistance training. The reason being is that it's important for your bone density. This applies to men as well. Important for your bone density because when you get older, I know some of you might have heard of or know an older person that if they fall and break a hip within a year, they might not be living anymore. So resistance training is super important. And cycling is also another thing that you can do. And then any types of sports. So whether that is netball, football, volleyball, hockey, anything like that that you like to do, that counts as physical activity. So you might have seen this before. Sitting is the new smoking. And the reason being a lot of us sit too much. We sit too much. So too much sitting equals increased risk for diabetes, heart disease. So that means that you should be standing and moving and improving energy, which improves energy, memory, focus, bone density, and strength. So you must make sure that you're moving. Some of us, we could sit at work for 2, 3, 4 hours without getting up. You need to get up, even if it is that you go to the water fountain, you just take a walk to somebody's desk instead of giving them a call on the phone. You need to get up and move your body. So let's get moving. So the first thing that I will just ask you to do, since I'm talking about moving and we were sitting for a little bit, I will just ask you to just stand. So you might or might not see me, just stand a bit. Just move around your body a bit. You might be seeing my lower body, but just move around your body a bit. Take a stretch up your hands. Let me just sit back so you can see this. So you will just stretch your hands up and just move a bit from side to side. These are, and if you were standing, you could sit. These are just some of the things that you can move. Just rotate your shoulders, things like that to get some sort of movement. So let's get moving at work and at home. I remember movement does not need a gym. It just needs a plan. So at work, you can take some stretch breaks about every 90 minutes, which I just show you a little bit of stretching. Use the stairs when possible. So if you have stairs or or the elevator, use the stairs. Walking meetings, I know that depending on if you're working from home, you can actually be moving around. Workplace step challenges. When I worked in corporate and I was one of the wellness champions, we implemented a step challenge where co-workers would get into teams, they were given pedometers, and every week you will have to record your steps. So as a team, you had to make sure that you were putting in these steps. And I will say that it was very competitive because there were prizes. And the picture that you're seeing here on the left, again, that was another type of challenge. So we were given certain exercises that we had to do, and this was my team, and we won because we did everything that we had to do because we knew we were getting prizes. And you could even be a little bit extra. For our team, we decided to print shirts, and our team was called Why So Serious. So these are some of the things that you can do to implement movement and also implement fun into that. So movement does not have to be this thing that feels as though it's a chore. Think of it as something that is vital for you to perform in the workplace and at home. And at home, you can walk or dance after dinner. I know sometimes you might not think like feeling to walk after dinner, but there's a reason for that. It helps with digestion and also helps with those blood sugar spikes, which in turn will help with weight and obesity management. You can do chores to music. For me personally, I am a soca baby, so I put on soca music and cleaning. It might take a little bit longer because I might pause in between and dance, but it is movement. You can do a 10-minute family stretch or a YouTube workout. And you can also limit screen time because when you are using devices or watching TV, that is where you're not going to be moving. So try to reduce some of that screen time. But the thing is, every step counts. You can start small and stay consistent. Once you start small with something and stay consistent with that, that is where you will start to build a habit. And we are creatures of habit, so we will keep on doing these things over and over again. Try not to overwhelm yourself by trying to do every single thing. Just do small things. Right, and we already did our movement just now. So we are on to the last priority area, which is obesity and weight management. So you probably heard this, and you're probably hearing people saying this, or you probably told this to people. You should not eat mangoes because they're high in sugar. And I would say false. You can still consume them because they also have other nutrients. Yes, they are going to be a bit higher in sugar compared to some of the other fruits, but you can still consume them because the yellow in mangoes, that is vitamin A. Vitamin A helps with your eyes. So you can still get nutrients from these things once they are in the whole state. If you were saying, if you were to ask me about mango juice, I would tell you no, indeed not, because that is full of sugar. But if you are doing it from the whole unprocessed state, as in a mango, you can still eat them. Because the thing is, when people say that and stay away from eating mangoes, most of the times they're eating something on this list. So whether it be macaroni pie with coleslaw, chow mein, rice and peas with gravy, chicken and chips with macaroni salad, especially on a Saturday or Friday night, bet that somebody is going to be somewhere buying these things. Fast food that is self-explanatory, sweet biscuits that you might get from the vending machine, chocolate from the vending machine, soft drinks, again, from the vending machine. And some people, I know that they might be a little bit addicted to Coke. So, and then you might have bakes and pastry, and usually it might be the sweet pastry because you might be waiting on the food van to come around, not food van, the bread van to come around on mornings, and might buy something like a currant slice, a turnover, a jam puff, a horseshoe, a lunch cake. This is a typical food choices. And because of these food choices, that is where people run into the problems of obesity and weight management. So this is where I'm going to ask you to unmute your mic and just say yes, no, maybe so if you eat any of these things that are on this list. And if
Yes,
I feel
definitely. I do.
personally
somebody said be personally attacked.
Sure. I do. I try not to do them often, but I do.
Yeah, and I know that is the typical food choices. So it is because of how we are eating, then that will contribute to certain things. Sorry, I don't want to go and chat and then I mess up something here because sometimes Zoom does its zooming things, but because of, as I said, because of eating like this is going to contribute to obesity and weight management. And again, if you're eating like this, and sometimes you might experience after lunch, you got the itis, I'm not going to say the word before, and realizing that you might be looking at the screen and like you're trying to nod off, you getting sleepy because of these things, or realize that you hit an energy dip and then telling yourself, I gotta go cross by pharmacy, or I gotta go upstairs and get a Coke or something to give me a little pick me up. So that is what typically happens.
So, once we are here, what happens?
Mhm.
How do you manage that afternoon sugar craving thing?
It depends on what you eat for your breakfast. That sets the tone, and also what you eat at lunch. So in a high level thing, because this is something that I do go into detail with my clients, high level, make sure that whenever you eat breakfast, that it is something that has protein. And I'm talking about proper protein. I'm not talking about things like lunch and meat, because that is all different sorts of things. But you must have your first meal. It must be a significant amount of protein, so it can look like 3 eggs, a can of tuna, and with something else. But once you set that, that is going to help to stabilize. But if then at lunch you're just getting, I'll just call the general thing that I might see people get, portion of rice, some pie, potato salad, probably a thigh, and a sprinkle of salad or a little bit of vegetables, or not at all, you got 3 sets of carbohydrates in there that's just spiking your blood sugar levels. So then if they go up, they have to come down. So you have to monitor what it is that you are eating. So that is a high level explanation for that.
I
So
just
if-
want to ask a question. So what is there anything wrong if you eat, you have your lunch, right? And
Mhm.
then after lunch, you just need to have a little sweet. I know that research showed that there's some European countries that they must have that sugar, that sweet dessert after eating. What is there an issue with that in terms of health and wellness?
It is not, okay, let me see how best. It again, it depends on what you are eating for your lunch. If it is that your lunch is void in protein, because protein is really that nutrient that will help to control the blood sugar spikes. And it is the blood sugar spikes that will be contributing to weight management on obesity issues, because if you have your blood sugar spiking all the time, that means that your insulin, you have to constantly have insulin being released. So this might be getting a little too deep. Like I said, this is something that I go into detail with my clients. But the thing is that because of that constant release of insulin, after a while, sometimes your body gets numb or does not respond to that. And that is where you'll also have storage. And if you're not burning it off, it is going to be stored in your fat stores or in your liver. So it depends on what you are eating and the order in which you are eating, and then you can have your dessert. And most of the times dessert is more of a satisfaction type thing, because you can have a piece of chicken, salad, and say some rice. And if somebody was to then tell you, okay, you can have another piece of chicken, you might be like, nah, I can't eat anymore. But if somebody was to say you want dessert, you're gonna be nodding and saying, yeah, I can make room for dessert. So it's more of a satisfaction thing. You do not have to, but I will just let you know that based on what you're eating, then it will determine how your blood sugar levels are going to interact. So if you eat a whole set of carbohydrates and then eat dessert, then it is going to spike your blood sugar levels. So again, it depends on what you're eating. All right, so we will just finish up and then I will go to the chat just to show you some stats on in terms of non-communicable disease stats. Women are 60% more likely to have diabetes than men and twice as likely to be obese. One of the reasons related to that is due to the physical inactivity in women, because that is significantly higher. In Barbados, we have about 9 out of 10 women who are inactive, and the rate is about 6 out of 10. And there are many different layers behind why a woman might not be as active as a man. You have to look at the psychosocial impacts as well. Most women are going to be general caretakers of children, so they will not mostly have the flexibility that men will have. That is one issue that is contributing to the inactivity of women. And there are a lot of other different things as well. As women, we tend to have a bit more quote unquote responsibilities. So wellness gets put aside. And as women, we sometimes think that, what I have heard over the years, if you go and lift weights and if you do this and that, then you're going to look like a man. So they shy away from certain things. Right? So it is not just about willpower. Obesity is shaped by not eating enough that's supposed to be nutrient dense foods. So as you would have seen before, the typical food that choices, those are nutrient deficient foods, lack of physical activity, limited access to healthy and affordable foods. And I know that healthy food is expensive, but one of the things that I would usually tell persons is to monitor when things are in season, because I can tell you for sure, when cucumbers are in season, they can drop to as low as $1 a pound, or if you go into town, they can be as low as 50 cents a pound. So that is one of the ways to get around this healthy, affordable food. And work stress is also contributing to obesity, because you can actually stress your way into being obese. So it doesn't matter if you are eating well, if you're exercising, if your stress levels are super high, then your body is not going to change because your body is in a fight or flight mode. So things like digestion is going to reduce. It is going to be more concentrated on getting you to safety. And that is just an adaptation over the millions of years. So work stress, you can stress yourself, meaning that when you're stressed, cortisol levels go up. When cortisol levels go up, insulin also has to be released as well. So if you are chronically stressed, that means cortisol levels are always high. Insulin is always high. So you can stress your way into being a diabetic as well. So just be mindful of that. And managers that might be on this call, please be mindful of that in terms of workload on your employees. So focusing on improving nutrition and diet, physical activity, and stress management will have a positive impact on obesity and weight management. As I said before, everything is interconnected, so one cannot necessarily exist or be better than the other. So how can we make this better? At work, you can make sure that you have clean water stations. And this point, break time protected, meaning that if you are entitled to 30 minutes or an hour for lunch, please take that time and take it away from your desk, working through your lunch and being on your laptop or looking at an email or having a call is going to interrupt you. You have an hour break. And likewise, others, please respect that people do have the time to take lunch. This is a time for you to take a break, to reset, so that you can then come back and do your work, right? You can have active meetings as well, wellness programs and newsletters. Some organizations do have a wellness program in place where they will pay for gym membership for their staff. They also allow staff to have a free annual checkup. There are companies that have a corporate nurse that will send newsletters related to information on different things to improve wellness. So these are some of the things that can be done at work. So if these aren't some of the things that are done, these are just some of the ideas, but there are many more. So at home, you can do shared meals, do movement time, reduce screen time at night, going to the gym or meeting it with others to exercise. I would say if you are going to exercise, try to go in a group because we know what is happening in Barbados. So I would encourage you to make sure that you are safe first. And also reduce processed foods. And this goes back into work. Whatever you buy from the supermarket, most likely you might take to work or not, but know that you have to reduce processed foods. And again, every action counts. Start small and stay consistent. And just trying to find this. Okay, so that comes to the end of the presentation. And this is my contact information here. I will share it again in the chat. And this is time to ask any questions, and I will go to see what was stated in the chat because I know I would have missed some stuff. Main chat. Somebody said everything eat. I eat all this, but with no meat, sometimes I overindulge. All right.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
You mentioned eating mangoes are good, but if you're diabetic, could you still use the mangoes? And you should limit them, I guess, if you're diabetic.
Yeah, you should still limit them because again, being a diabetic is related to insulin or blood sugar control. So I wouldn't tell you to overindulge in them. And if you have to eat them, eat some that are not super ripe, because that is the fine line. And obviously, if you're eating them, I would tell you to probably, that was the best thing. Because I know you necessarily don't want to eat a piece of chicken and a mango, but even if you do something like a pickled mango, you can do that as well. But the point is to try not to eat too much. That's going to be spiking your blood sugar levels too high. And if you want to eat one, you can eat one, but it would not tell you to chain eat both 3 or 4, which some of us tend to do in this mango season time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We got a message coming in. Oh, good. Okay, Fian, you're welcome. Thank you, Dwayne. All right, any other questions that you need to ask? And as I said, this is my contact information. And if it is that you need anything clarified, or if it is that you need any help, I do offer nutrition coaching. I do offer, one of my specialties is in perimenopause and postmenopause. And in that phase, that is where you really have to dial down on certain things because your hormones are doing things that you don't like. So that is one of my areas as well. But if you need to get more information, to find me on LinkedIn, or even if you need to message me to get a 15-minute consultation, if you need to go beyond this, those are things that are available to you. Right, let me see. I dislike most of the so-called, however I made it. All right, so Hyacinth, in response to your question,
Yes, ma'am.
when you are making the shake, do
Mm.
you put protein in the shake? Protein
I-
powder?
Yeah, I do a mixture of whey protein and
Mhm.
plant-based protein. Put in some pumpkin seeds, some the other one, pumpkin seeds, some other seed in there, almond,
Mhm.
a banana, and some flax. And I mix it with
Okay.
Amabreeze, and I do it with Amabreeze milk, sweet and low calorie.
Right, and you said that you,
And then I find that when I do that, that tends to keep me full all day, and then I may not eat again till evening. Like yesterday evening till about 5:30 or so, but I had soup. But some days it may be some rice and something with salad. But I'm always and in addition to that, the cholesterol thing, the doctor say that I was pre-diabetic, which I think is stress related because I've just been stressed for the last year for one reason or another. And
so
so
because of the time here and because of this, I said this is something that I usually go into detail because it is not a straightforward response to give suggestions.
mhm,
Because if it is that you are doing this shit and you don't feel hungry, then it is going to call for going into a deep more investigation in certain things, and also trying for you to at least eat something during the day.
mhm.
Again, although you might not feel that hungry because it could be a situation that your hunger craving signaling is off as well. So this is something that I typically cover in detail with nutrition coaching. So there is
Okay.
a straight off answer, unfortunately.
All right, so your information here has a big black thing in the middle of it, so you can't see all of the information. But if you can
Well,
put it
because
in,
that's the chat box, I think.
oh,
Can you see it
okay,
now?
no,
No, it doesn't.
Give it some time because I find the presentation was lagging a bit, and
Oh.
okay.
sometimes it was filling with those kind of shapes and so in between. So sometimes when she was speaking, we were on a completely different pace still, but then it caught up after. So I'm
Oh,
not
I'll
sure
see
if it
then.
will move. Yeah.
Either
What
that
I'm gonna
or
do
she will
is
have to
just
post
share
it.
my
All right, it came up now.
information. Oh, okay,
Yeah, so I screenshot it. Okay, so I'll be calling you.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, let me see. There is somebody else. Thanks for sure. Really feel like restarting my. Yes, Allison, please do your morning stretches.
Yes,
Need a whole
please.
session on postmenopause. I would have done that for different organizations in terms of the peri and postmenopause thoughts. So if it is that you you will have to speak to your manager or HR person to get me to come in to talk, or there's some information that you can find on my Instagram account as well. So those are some of the places that you can start, but I am about the place. There is, if you go on Instagram, there is a, let me pull that back. Right. So if you go on Instagram, there you would see some snippets from a podcast that I did with another trainer, and it was talking about perimenopause. Everything that I speak about related to perimenopause is very applicable to postmenopause because you don't have those hormones anymore to protect you. So a lot of things are going to be interesting, for lack of a better word. But if it is that you need me to come to your organization, you can always still send me an email, let me know who to contact, and that can be arranged. Let me see. Any information for males? What information exactly, Trevor, are you asking about? Because the information that I presented, everything is for males as well in terms of physical activity, obesity, nutrition. That is for males. If you mean my services, one service that I have for males would be nutrition coaching. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome again, Allison. Yes, Lynette, you can stress your way into being a diabetic. Yep. So you have to manage your stress. When you, and again, when you, in terms of the protected break time, please take your vacations when you are entitled to vacation. Please, please, again, take your vacation. And if you have that liberty, do not work through your vacation, because what was the point of taking a vacation? Yeah, planning is everything you have to do. You got to plan. Planning will have to be critical. Yep. Agreed, Trevor. What is readily available is not healthy. So yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes we have to take a bit more responsibility or take more action, because some things are very convenient. So you're going to more go towards things that are convenient, because really truly we like convenience. But it is going to take for a bit more planning. So this is how you can look at it. You can plan to be healthy and to make sure that your quality of life is good, or don't plan and just go with the flow and then realize that one day that all of these things are creeping up on you. So yes, you have to plan. How does employer manager makes it rather clear that they're not interested? Oh, these are right. How does the employer manage? How does the employer manage it? That's the thing. Maxine, unfortunately, you cannot force anybody to do physical activity. There are a lot of reasons why people might not want to be physically active. I will just stop sharing this screen so that hopefully everybody has this information, but it will be sent out to you once you would have registered. So I will just stop sharing here. Right. You can't force, Maxine, honestly, you cannot force anybody to participate in physical activity. You have the resources there that you're providing to them. You will have to find out honestly what other barriers they have. They have some people that do not want to exercise because there might be a sense of shame. There are some women that will not want to exercise because of other reproductive issues that are happening. There are many things, but as an employer, the point is that you are providing this information. So likewise for me, where I'm constantly sharing information and encouraging people to eat healthy, I cannot force them to, but sometimes it takes years for somebody to realize that, okay, this is something that might actually benefit me. Most people will tend to respond to things if it is a pain point for them, or if they're going through something that is negatively impacting them. So it is, again, this is not straightforward. It might also mean that you could implement different things in terms of food or provide different things. It's more in detail thing, and that is something that we can also have a conversation about. But as I said, you cannot force anybody to do anything. When you pushing things on people, they are going to rebel. So there are different ways, but you can't force anybody for physical activity. You're welcome. All right, so I will close off the Q&A and I will hand back over to Rhonda. And I just have to move off the screen briefly because my power is going.
So thank you so very much, Renee, for that. I thought it was very enlightening. I, like many of the others, I can say many, because I think we may all be on the same page in terms of eating or what we're doing and some of the foods that we really should see and leave alone, the sweet stuff. But I'm trying also to be more physically active. So that's my challenge, especially as you tend to get a little older. We need to work on it a bit more. So thank you so very much. I want to thank all the participants for joining us today. And normally we've been trying to send out a bit of a evaluation at the end of the sessions. So I think we're gonna tweak things a little bit different. You can probably say in the chat how you find it, if there are any, or if you want to say no, if you want, open your mic and say if there's anything you feel that we can do different in terms of the promotion. We're here to listen. So any messages any message or messages that y'all have for us in terms of what we are doing, what you would like to see from us anymore? So anyone? Silence means that all is well.
We had some feedback in the chat in terms of how the presentation went, for sure.
Right.
Yes,
Which was fine, which is fine.
informative. Yeah.
I was also asking about if there's anything that we can improve in terms of how we are doing this. So I'm not saying anything, so I'll say thank you all. That means
I'm just at a loss with
Thank you, Karen.
respect to the first two sessions, but there should have been, I probably maybe just missed the advertising or the flyers for them. So
Wow.
if they weren't pushed that way, I would just suggest that they were pushed through Miss the same way how this one was. That's so it will reach, you know, as many addresses as ever on the GOV as well as other addresses, because some persons are on other, like education is on their own and so forth. So I'm not
Yes.
sure if they also feed into that, but it's a really great session. Yeah, we did give you feedback as we were moving along, but so far your introduction and etc. that went well. And also Miss Critchlow's, her presentation was great, fantastic, really brought
you.
to mind a lot of stuff that we would have forgotten. And the comments, I agree with most of the stuff that the others put in there.
Okay.
Thanks much for the thought.
Thank you very much, Alison.
Welcome.
Just one thing in response, we've been trying, I think the first session we was promoted through Miss, but I think unfortunately it was, I think how it was advertised, it was there, but with another, with another promotion coming out from the Ministry of Public Service. So we sent it separately this time. So we will try to do that, make sure that, so that the information will be standalone and not linked with anything else.
Thanks
Okay.
much.
All right. And if you can share, that's fine. So we would also try to ensure that we've recorded. So we try to make sure that the video will be available on the website for you after. So thank you.
All right, Liz said we have we do have other webinars coming up.
Yes, Professor Dev. I mentioned that at the beginning. So we're doing it on a monthly basis. So listen out and you will hear from us about the other webinars. So we should be going all the way down to well, into next year, 29. And then in October, last year we did a Workplace and Wellness Action Forum. That was the first one. So we'll be repeating that again this year in October again. So you can look out once we've completed the plan, you can look out for the advertisement and so on that as well.
Can you drop the website in the chat? You know, it might be on one and it might not be the right one.
Okay. So it is
Okay,
there.
thanks.
And thank you very much. Thank you all very much for your interaction.
All right, thank you everyone for attending, and I hope you have a great day and implement something that you will have learned today. Implement it today or
Thanks very much.
tomorrow.
Thanks very much, Renee.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Bye, everyone.
And thank you
Right,
to
thank you.
our chair of the subcommittee, Professor Devonish, who's on as well. So thank you. And thank all of you participants for being here.
Thank much. Have a safe one.
Okay, yes, everyone be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Renee.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.